One of the things we've been hearing a lot about is this Tradwife phenomenon. What is it? Because I admittedly am not very educated on it myself. And how did this trend happen? What do we need to do about it?
So there's like a few key players. There's Nara Smith, there's Ballerina Farms, and they are influencers. They're entrepreneurial businesswomen who make videos showing them baking things from scratch in perfect makeup, perfect hair, perfect outfit, cute little aprons in very expensive kitchens that are equipped with like the nicest Le Creuset pots and pans. And they're just doing what you would think a rich 1950s housewife would be doing to calming music, soothing voiceovers. And it's a part of this conservative cultural movement, right? That women are meant to be in the house and meant to be with kids.
Mm,
But at the end of the day, she is running a business. She is working all day long, pushing out this content. She's like an influencer in that her audience is driving what she's doing, even if she picked this sort of niche and this persona to be online.
mhm,
She's an entrepreneur, and that
mm,
is a very non traditional sort
mhm,
of way to live your life. So it's not like the 1950s conservative idea of a woman at all. She has the
mhm,
free choice to post, she can vote, she has her own, I'm sure, bank account where the money she makes off of these videos is
mhm,
going.
mhm,
But people see this and they're like, oh, this is a conservative takeover. But really, who is it for? It's just entertainment for people who want to see that, who have some weird fantasy about a
mhm,
life that goes that way.
mm,
And so I think it's fascinating
mhm,
um that they're putting on this persona every single day.
mm. I would imagine that a feminist critique of this trad wife phenomenon might be that it's teaching women and teaching society that there is a certain way to be a woman, and that it looks like being under complete economic control of your husband, and it looks like being subservient. Would you agree that that might be a reliable critique coming out of feminism about this phenomenon?
Yeah, and it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. We had this era of like the trendy girl boss movement.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're seeing a lot of women saying this is quite hard and unfulfilling. And what they're not talking about at all is feminism being a mistake. They're just critiquing capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fulfilling to work for most of your waking hours and still struggle to get by. And so it sounds nice and easy to be Nora Smith, to wear fancy outfits and just cook from scratch with the best ingredients from Whole Foods all day long. The problem with that being, there's not a lot of partners out there that make enough money to support a household on a single income, and
Mm-hmm.
so they're sort of selling this ideal that is so unattainable.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's kind of the result of women maybe fantasizing that they could live a comfortable life where they have everything they need and some of what they want.
Mm-hmm. Liberation. You talked about how Democrats have sort of this outdated voter outreach model, or at least a model that's no longer working, obviously. Talk more about that and tell us, how do we fix those models? How do we fix that system? And how do we win elections?
Yeah, a part of this, I will say, is outside of the party infrastructure. And in the time of like techno fascism, the the right does have some of the largest tech companies, software companies, data scientists backing them.
Mm-hmm.
And so to some degree, when you have that much money, personnel, and infrastructure, you're going to outpace us no matter what. But during 2016, the Cambridge Analytica scandal, they were using data from Facebook on who was easily targeted with misinformation. and they were reaching out to them, pushing videos to their feed about fake news and fake news stories to repeatedly make them fear the future in some way so that they'd be more susceptible to follow someone like Trump down his path, where he turns their fear into directed anger towards marginalized groups of people, towards Democrats, and essentially giving people bad information so they vote against their self-interest. Democrats, I think, during this era, decidedly didn't want to use algorithms, didn't want to use social media, partially, I think, because they saw this as immoral to almost trick people into voting for you and target voters and use their personal data. And they probably thought their base would be mad at them if they were doing that.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the fact that how do you counter these right-wing narratives? You have to have a central message and talking point that debunks them, and neoliberalism definitely falls short of doing that. It is not an answer to a rise of fascism. So they didn't even really have, a central message or these ideals that they could push if they wanted to play that game. But it also manifests on a very granular level where everyone has NGP van. They use this. It's kind of like a database. Think of like Salesforce, where it's got all of the registered voters, and you can choose to contact people, say, if they voted for Obama in 2008 and 12 and then sat out in 2016. What's going on with those people? How do we engage them again? I've talked to people who are chairs of Democratic parties across the country. They don't know how to even pull that list, but they really want to reach these disengaged voters. And so the buttons are really easy to press. You just have to know how to press them. But for some reason, in the Democratic Party, we can't even use this basic tool, let alone build huge machine learning algorithms to target people in strategic ways with a coherent message. So it's a layered problem, but yeah, that's what I mean when I say we're getting outpaced.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I like how you divided that. I mean, obviously there are external forces, there are private companies that own, entire methods of communication in this country. But internally, maybe the Democrats could invest in training resources for county party chairs who have the desire to leverage this technology but don't have the know-how. And perhaps we could invest in, year-round organizers and not just during election cycles. Might be a better use of money that the Democratic Party could spend.